Purple Little Talk here. And just before we start off the video, I would like to announce some things. Remember, we reached 250 subscribers. We have a giveaway. So subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and just stay tuned for more content. So what are we going to be talking about today? Well, I'm going to be talking about the real swing states of the 2020 presidential election. So unlike many years in the past, our real swing states that are going to be the deciding factors are actually just seven states. So first of all, you're gonna notice some states that should be marked in the not the safe category, likely or lean margins. But I'm just gonna be just passing that over. I'm gonna go with states that realistically have a chance for either party. And states like Texas, for example, Democrats have increased a lot there. It's not out of the picture, but I think it is technically out of the picture. Probability wise, it's possible. Technically, not possible. So, state of Texas, states like Georgia, states like Iowa and Ohio, those states are kind of a little bit out of the picture for Democrats, and I think those will be states that Republicans will carry. So, these states right here are states that could go either way, and I'm going to talk about who favors each other in each state. So, I'm going to go from west to east, starting with the state of Arizona. I think the state of Arizona will go to the Democrats slightly. Well, you might be asking why. First of all, Arizona is kind of mostly controlled by that one Phoenix County, Maricopa County. That's 60% of the electorate. You lose very bad there, you lose the election. They're very conservative there, but they're progressive. Conservative progressive. It sounds not normal, but in reality, Arizona's a very blue dog state. It's blue dog. We saw how they elected Kirsten Sinema, and I think the same base that voted for Sinema will go and vote for Biden. And all the smaller counties in the state, there is a lot of like a couple more Democratic counties, but then most of the rural parts will go to the Republicans usually. Now, when looking at states, let's go to our next state, going west. This east, the state of Minnesota. I think realistically, it's gonna be a little bit more hand to hand. It's gonna be a bigger margin for the Democrats as states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Ultimately, Democrats have fared off very well there in that state, and I think simply they're going to carry it by at least two or 3 points. Now going to the state of Wisconsin, this state I think is going to be the closest out of these three Rust Belt states. Now, you might be saying, well, Democrats will win the state of Wisconsin. I'm going to leave this for last because I think that's going to be one of the closer states during this election. Going to the state of Michigan, I think it's safe to say Democrats will have a very big chance of winning. They're leading in the polls 6%. Again, polls are not indicators. They are pretty accurate sometimes. But other things have been showing in favor of the Democrats. I think the only thing that might kind of help Donald Trump there is if Joe Biden actually chooses someone from Michigan for his vice president, which is Gretchen Whitmer. That actually might hurt him more than help him. So I would put that in the Democratic column in this scenario. So yeah, now let's hit up Pennsylvania again, another state that I think will go to the Democratic Party. They've had consistent holds and pickups in the House. They elected a lot of their statewide officials that are Democrat, and it's been leaning more Democrat. And again, it was one-time thing for the Democrats that they lost them, but now they're back after that short period of flip. So we already see that with that, they win the election. And I think, technically speaking, Democrats could afford to lose the state of Wisconsin if they win Arizona. Or they can afford to lose Michigan and Pennsylvania if they win Florida. So these are the scenarios that, although you might think, those three states, if those two states don't go, how is Florida gonna go? Yeah, they can afford. Losing Pennsylvania and Wisconsin if they win Florida. Yeah. So now going to the state of Florida, I think that's gonna be an interesting state. I think it's actually gonna go to Donald Trump. I've changed my prediction in this state. My margins are off, but I think Donald Trump will have the hand. And in Florida elections, what matters is margins. Because in Florida, in reality, it's a very split. After doing some research for this video, it's very split. It's either you're voting a lot for one party, vote for the other, and there's barely any swing counties like in other states. So for that reason, if you underperform in your strongholds, that means that's going to hurt you a lot during vote counting statewide. we can already say that the Republicans are a benefit in Florida. A lot of the population that are usually Democratic are leaning and turning to the Republican Party. And the state of Florida, I think, will go to Donald Trump narrowly. And I think Donald Trump will have an inspiring campaign for a lot of people. I am not sure how close he will get. State of Wisconsin, I think, will go narrowly. Narrowly, like, they're going to stay with Donald Trump. Wisconsin, out of the three Rust Belt states, is the least likely, like I said before. And the state of Wisconsin is really not very, very, very fond of Democrats, nor the Republicans, but Donald Trump has been in their good graces, to say so. So I think the state of Wisconsin, if slightly, I mean, it's going to be by a couple hundred votes, a couple thousand votes, less than 5,000 votes. I'm going to say that's going to be about the margin where I think Donald Trump is going to win at this point in time, which is May 15th. Now, our last state is the state of North Carolina. And Democrats will have a super close race there. And I think they would do great in this state. They would do pretty well, actually. But unfortunately for the Democratic Party, we go to this thing. There is mail-in voting this time. And remember, a lot of these places, the Democratic bases, it is very likely, again, mail-in voting, but that's not a big thing. But the Republican bases in North Carolina are getting strong. There's a lot of Democratic voters moving too. So it's going to be a really toss-up, a real toss-up. Now, where does it come in for the Democrats? Mail-in voting. If there's mail-in voting, the Democrats will lose the state of North Carolina. It's going to be that close to the margin. Why, you might say, well, considering that most Democratic votes in these states, the big bunch of them, a big packs, are in urban areas. Urban areas are usually underserved with things like mail-in. It's kind of harder to vote, or even the bases of the Democratic Party that are more in poverty to say than the Republican parties. I think I think the statistics show it. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I can say that the Democratic base will have an effect of mail-in voting. So I would give that state ultimately to the Republicans, but by a narrow margin. I think this state will be a lot narrower than Florida and Arizona. So yeah, so this election really depends of just 7 states, which again comes in the Electoral College. Which, look, I think that is a big downside of the Electoral College. I'm not gonna get super into it, but I'm just gonna mention this: that if you want, I think it was 11 states. If you win 11 states narrowly, whether it be like by 1/10 of 1%, and you lose the rest of the state by 100%, you still win the election because of the electors. So I want to thank all of you for watching, and remember, 250 subs, a giveaway, and please like this video. We're trying to grow, and thank you for watching. I'll see you real soon.